The 632nd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho to Generinos. Welcome to episode 632 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Dennis Daria, who's dropping jokes in the comment section of our YouTube channel. So thank you, Dennis. Thank you, everyone who have subscribed and who are going to subscribe after I remind you to subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast. So there you go. You've been reminded by the bearded one, Jeff Chalks Fox, one half of the dynamic duo who will be breaking down UFC 305 today. This is one of UFC just started a deal. They signed a deal with Perth in Western Australia. They're going to be doing 2 events a year, and this is one of them, UFC 305. Very Aussie slanted fight card, not surprisingly, but pretty solid main event. The rest of the card is kind of if you ask me. At least the main event, the pay-per-view portion is kind of questionable for $70 or whatever they are going to charge for this event.
You don't think this is a good main card?
No, I don't think it's that
really?
Good main card. Yeah.
Dude, it's got a sick main event. Like, you're not going to tell me I'm going to miss an Israel Adesanya fight ever.
Main event's good.
You got Gamrot versus Hooker, who, like, Gamrot, if
Come on now.
Sarukian isn't ready to go, like, yeah, but Gamrot might be a title challenger in the near future. You got Kaikara France and Steve Erceg, who both were just title challengers.
You're dancing around the third fight from the top, Gumby.
Oh, I love that fight. And it's the fight I've maybe gone the back and forth the most on, too, for every reason you expect. And also, then you're not mentioning the fight I'm most excited about, which is getting to see Carlos Prates actually take the step forward that I knew he could make.
Yeah. Well, that's all for tomorrow, though. So how about that's Gumby Vreeland, everyone. Everyone say hi. Hi, Gumby. Today's all about the prelims, and we got, 9 prelim fights? Is that right? 7? 9?
Yeah. The
8.
ones that have... I'll say this about the prelims. The ones that have close lines, the ones that aren't like blatant blowout fights.
Yeah.
They're at least hard to pick, right? Like there's probably value there somewhere. And we're going to do our best to find it for you.
All right. That's what it's all about. After I tell you to make sure you check out the Boss's podcast, that would be the Sports Gambling Podcast. The one that started it all. They're deep into their 32 NFL team previews right now, and as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. So go back and listen to all those episodes if you've missed any so far, or watch them. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app, and of course YouTube. All right, so UFC 305 is what we're talking about today. It's going down on August the 17th. Well, yes, it actually is 17th. It's the 18th in Perth, though. When will be going down. They're doing it again to the local people. They're making them watch events at weird times, because it started at 6 p.m. Eastern in our area here. So that means in Australia that's going to be the next
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to
Perth is 12 hours ahead.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like Queensland, which is the other coast, is 14 hours ahead.
Okay.
But like Perth is
I got you. All right. Yes, makes sense. So 6 a.m. So not quite as bad as what the people had to do in Manchester a few weeks ago, but nonetheless, it's in the RAC Arena, or RAC Arena in Perth, Western Australia. 12 fights actually is what we're doing. So we got 7 on the docket for today. We didn't discuss this beforehand. What order are we doing, Gumby? Because the orders aren't quite solidied as of this recording. What do you have first?
I think
what graphic you
got? I got Casey O'Neill, Luana.
All right, let's do that. Shall we? Let's do it. Casey O'Neill, Luana, Santos. You want to go with Tapology then? I can do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one I put on.
All right. Casey O'Neill from Scotland, from Australia, now in the United States. She's all over the place. Versus Luana Santos from Brazil, 3 5-minute rounds, 125 pounds. And I will tell you about King Casey O'Neill. 9-2 with 3 knockouts and 2 submissions. She's been submitted once, 4-2 in the UFC. She's lost 2 straight fights, including her last fight via submission. She's not won since she came back from a knee injury, actually. She's not won a fight since February 2022. Was a regional champion. Used to fight down at, actually, this is a strawweight. Used to fight, this is flyweight. I might have said strawweight. She used to fight a strawweight, missed weight at strawweight, but now she's at flyweight. Does that make sense? Sure, it does. 2 inches of reach over Santos, more active lightning strikes than Santos, has outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 2.11 strikes per minute, plus 132 as of this recording. Santos, who we just broke down a few weeks back, she's fighting again. 8-1, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 3-0 in the UFC, taking this fight on short notice. She's won 5 straight fights. He's not lost since July of 2022. Used fight at bantamweight, missed weight at bantamweight. Did make weight for her fight. How long ago was that, Gummy? Before this fight, 3 weeks ago, I guess?
She beat Agapova, right?
Yeah. So within a month or so.
It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. 3 years younger than O'Neal. Better striking stats, better grappling stats. She's got almost an identical strike differential to O'Neal. She's at plus 2.12, minus 148. We'll let Gummy kick things off here.
So I'm going to do something I think I've never done before. I'm going to pick Casey O'Neal. Yeah, not
with
never,
the short
not
notice
never.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, not never done before, but I think I've faded her more than she probably deserves. And I realized that when I went back and watched her film, like she went in there, and granted, she lost that fight with Ariane Lipsky, but like she didn't look half bad on the feet with Ariane Lipsky. And who was she fought Jennifer Maia before that, who granted is kind of on a decline now and just main evented Invicta this past week and all that kind of stuff. But like that was a tough back and forth fight on the feet too. And you know, I notoriously I picked against Luana Santos in her last fight. I was wrong about that, but I don't know necessarily that I trust her takedown defense yet. Like I don't know that I trust her on the mat. That was why I felt comfortable, you know, swinging for the fences on Agapova at like plus 300 or plus 400 or whatever she was. I was like, that's, you know, it's got to be worth a play to see if she can hit a takedown. And now like she's going to have no training camp for Casey O'Neal, who's definitely better and more composed than Maria Agapova, who's kind of like flighty in there and whatnot. And I still don't know if Luana Santos is good at defending takedowns, right? And like, say what you want about Casey O'Neal's game overall, because she has lost 2 in a row. She took a big chunk of time off. Sometimes things haven't looked as like even the Roxanne Modafferi fight, right? Like that one didn't look great for her. But like the one thing you can always count on is her grappling game is very good. You know, like the way she takes the back, mean. The way she, you know, when she is on top and she doesn't let people up, also good. Like, I really like her ground game. And against somebody who I have questions about her ground game, I'm willing to take a stab here. I think she's going to be the worst striker. I like her ability to grind. I don't like the short notice of Luana Santos flying halfway across the world.
Yeah, let's keep hating Luana Santos, shall we? Poor girl. She's done nothing to us, but we're gonna fade her again. I'll take.
You're gonna take Casey O'Neal too.
Sure.
I did not think you were going to
this one was a toss up for me because I've
you hate short notice, but you hate the guys who have lost a couple in a row in kind of like ugly ways and then took time off.
I kind of written her off, but I don't think this level of competition is too high for Casey O'Neal. I think she's better all around than Santos, has definitely fought better fighters than Santos has. And then there's the short notice piece. So why not take a little stab at plus 132 dog and see if one of the it girls for the UFC can get the it back in her game here or something like that. We're moving on to men's side, 145 pounds featherweights. Jack Jenkins, Aussie, oi, 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 versus Herbert Burns from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. Burns, the Blaze, 11-6, 1 knockout, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. 2 and 3 in the UFC. Taking this fight on short notice. He's lost 3 straight fights, all via TKO. He's not lost one a fight, June 2020. Missed weight before. 1-0 in Contender Series. 5-2 in 1 championship. So this is a step down for him. 2012 Pro MMA debut. 2 inches height, 5 inches reach over Jenkins. He's been outstruck in the UFC and the Contender Series by by 2.87 strikes per minute, plus outstruck and minus. Anyhow, he's been outstruck by almost 3 strikes a minute, plus 425. There's as you'll see, there's a few there's some home cooking going on here. UFC has given some of the some locals some.
Well, he was supposed to fight Gavin Tucker here.
Yeah,
this is supposed to be Gavin Tucker. Yeah,
Canadians are much tougher. So yes, he would be Jenkins. Far is a racehorse, right? I just remember that now.
I think it's the
right?
I think it's the name of his racehorse, if I'm not mistaken. Like he's like a huge. He was trying to get custom racehorse kit for.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's come through, but he tried to get what is it? Venom? Venom does them now. Venom to get him a custom racehorse one.
He's one of the mustache mafia, along with you and whoever else you shouted out last show. Rob Wilkinson. It's an Aussie thing. All right, Jenkins. 12-3, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, knocked out once, submitted twice, so finishing all his losses. 2-1 in the UFC, 9-1 over his last 10, got submitted in his last fight. He got hurt in that fight too, did you not? That's the fight he got hurt in, right?
He got submitted.
I thought he got.
Jack Jenkins. Injured. Yeah, he dislocated his.
Yeah, right.
Shoulder.
Yeah, something like that. That's right. Because he was on a good roll until then. 1-0 contender series, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. He's fight at lightweight, 5 years younger than Burns. Better striking stats, twice more active landing strikes than Burns. He's outstruck his UFC and contender series opponents by 1.36 strikes per minute. Minus 500. Yikes. Obviously, I like Jenkins. I still like Jenkins, and this is a mismatch. This is to get him. This is the quote unquote bounce back fight. So, yeah, Jenkins is the pick, obviously.
Yeah, well, and this was a more competitive fight.
That's true. That's right. This is,
so I'm not just sitting here pumping them saying that they want Jack Jenkins to win. But, like, also, do you know the last time Herbert Burns was in a fight where he didn't get knocked out?
June of 2020.
June, yeah, you got the thing right in front of
you. Yeah.
June of 2020 is the last time he was in a fight that he didn't get knocked out in. Dude, that's insane. And one of those losses is by exhaustion. Which, I mean, like, Jack Jenkins sets a good pace. I mean, he was hanging with Chepe Mariscal on the feet when he wound up dislocating his shoulder during like a weird grappling exchange. And so, like, if you can hang with Chepe Mariscal on the feet, you're going to devastate Herbert Burns on the feet. This should be a knockout. I don't know, 30 seconds in. Whenever Jack Jenkins decides to end this fight, it should end by knockout. Give me Jack Jenkins there.
Yeah, we're recording a little early, so no props yet. But what do you think the Jenkins knockout prop's going to be?
Negative
probably
300.
Not that great.
Yeah,
either,
negative
right?
300. Yeah, well, yeah, it's probably not going to be good.
still gonna be unplayable. But yeah, it'll be nice to see him. Well, we shouldn't count the chickens before they roost or whatever, or hatch or whatever. But it'll be nice to see him get back in the winning track. All right, no underdogs on that fight, but we do love underdog fantasy. If you're looking for underdogs, that doesn't really make sense because they're not about underdogs. But anyhow, let's just read the ad read and power through, everyone. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries and then go streaking. If you can get an 11-0 run going, you can win 1,000 times your money. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. They just added another college football contest for Best Ball as well. And I'm going to pitch to Gumby again to make plays here.
Jazz Chisholm's looked good for the Yankees lately. Let's just take higher than on his total basis. Whatever day you're listening to this.
Hopefully he still looks good and he hasn't like blown his knee out since we recorded this. But yes, he has looked good for the Yankees. Very true. Sign up with our promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit. Offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And take some of those winnings, not a lot of them because you won't need a lot, and get yourself some tickets to an event from Game Time. Game Time is now the spot to go also for authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, but it's not just MLB. They got all other sports. They got UFC because that's a sport. They've got concerts. They got it all. Last-minute deals. You can see seat views, where your seats are going to be, all that good stuff. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're moving on. Early prelims still. 6 p.m. start time for these, as I probably already said. This is a up a weight class, lightweight fight. Kenan Song Kenan actually is what we should call him. He's from China versus Ricky Glenn from the United States of America. And I'm going to tell you about Glenn first. The Gladiator, Ricky Glenn, 22-8-2, 13 knockouts, 3 submissions, knocked out twice, submitted twice, 4-5-1 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight. He's got 1-3-1 over his last 5. Both of his losses have come via knockout or TKO. Used to fight at featherweight and I say lightweight, but he's at lightweight. Has missed weight at featherweight before, so hopefully he's good now at 155. 4-1 in World Series of Fighting and the champion there before they turn into PFL. Regional champion as well. 2006 pro MMA debut. Better grappling stats than Song. He's been barely outstruck in the UFC. He's at minus 0.16. And on the board, betting board, plus 195. Song, 20-8. 9 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times. 5-4 in the UFC. 1-3 over his last 4, including losing his last fight. Used to fight up at middleweight. Has missed weight before at welterweight, so keep that in mind. 2014 pro MMA debut, an inch of reach over Glenn, more active landing strikes than Glenn. He has been outstruck in the UFC, though, by 2.02 strikes per minute, minus 225.
Did you say welterweight? He missed weight at welterweight?
He missed weight at welterweight, it says. Yeah. Did he fight? No.
I mean, this fight's at lightweight, right?
This fight's at lightweight. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, let me see. I think he just...
I mean, that's wild if he missed weight at welterweight.
Let me see here. Topology doesn't say he does, but I thought on Wikipedia it said he did. But
that's
I will look it up while you talk.
Regardless of the situation, I'm going to go Ricky Glenn here. I think Song Kenan kind of got so first of all, he put together a little win streak when he first came to the UFC. He finished Callum Potter, and everybody got all excited about it. And then he proceeded to lose 3 of his next 4, with the only win being Rolando Bedoya, who, we just saw recently and looked insanely underwhelming in that fight, right? Like Bedoya just has not looked good in the UFC. And that's like the only person he's beat is he had like a good striking performance against a hittable guy. Like in that last fight with Kevin Chusey, he looked completely overwhelmed on the feet. And I know Ricky Glenn's on a 2-fight losing streak, but are we really going to discredit his chin for getting knocked out by Drew Dober? Drew Dober hits so hard, and I'm the guy on here who's usually saying, well, knockouts are cumulative, and you get knocked out once, or in his case twice, there's a good chance number 3 is coming along. But is Song Kenan like a big knockout artist? He knocked out, like I said before, Callum Potter, who I'm not trying to hit with strays here, but what's your lasting memory of Callum Potter in the UFC? You barely you barely remember the guy's name. And I think Ricky Glenn's crafty on the feet. I also think we could see some Ricky Glenn wrestling too. I think people sleep on the fact that Ricky Glenn went in there and damn near finished Grant Dawson in a comeback win that wound up going as a draw. He drew with Grant Dawson and survived 15 minutes of hard fought action with Grant Dawson. I think he can outstrike Song Kenan here. I think he can mix in the wrestling, maybe even, or at the very least stuff anytime Song Kenan goes for a takedown. And I like him at plus 195.
Oh, am I going to let you talk me into this or not?
Is it because you're sitting there wondering why you were ever in on Song Kenan?
Yeah, no, this is kind of a...
Did you see the striking numbers of him versus Kevin Chusey?
How was it? They were bad.
I think it was 134-60 or something like that. He doubled them up.
But Glenn's been knocked out twice in a row, though. That's
but how many knockouts does Song Kenan have in
9? But it's been a while. Fine, Gumby, fine.
He's got 1 knockout since June of 2018. So in the last 6 years, he has 1 knockout.
Yeah. All right, fine. You sold me. This is one of the fights that was a toss up for me. So sure, I'll take twice double money on Ricky Glenn.
Do you know who knocked out Song Kenan in 2015? I just pulled up his record because I was Israel Adesanya.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That's right. Yeah, and he did miss weight at welterweight. That was 2014. I did look that up. Or the intern did. So.
That's a long time ago. So.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Ricky Glenn is the pick. Fine. All right. Team ride. The main event of the early prelims. Flyweight belt, Stewart Nicoll from Australia. Jesus Aguilar, or Jesus is probably Aguilar from Mexico. 3 5-minute rounds, 125. Aguilar, 10-2, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. He's been submitted twice, 2-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight and 10 of 11. He went 1-0 in Contender Series, was regional champ, plus 185. Nicoll, 8-0, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. This is his debut. He's won 4 straight fights via TKO or knockout. He has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get shirts, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Inch height over Aguilar, minus 215. Give me Aguilar. I'll go with dog again. Give me the known quantity with more experience at this level and more proof that he can compete at this level. And a pretty decent looking fighter as of, well, he beat Shan Ross, which isn't that great, but Mendonca is all right.
Mendonca is the only guy from his season of Contender Series that's not still signed.
Yeah. Taira is Tatsuro Taira is the only person he's lost to since his debut. So let's go with another dog. Why not?
Because Stewart Nicoll's an absolute beast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Stewart Nicoll's nasty. I mean, like, what would it take for the UFC to sign a flyweight without making them go through Contender Series? Like, and there's tons of flyweights in Australia. Like, Australia is notoriously a hotbed for people at 125 and 135. Look at Contender Series this year. There's like 4 or 5 of them. They've got bantamweights and flyweights fighting each other, both from Australia on Contender Series. That's how loaded this area is with some of the top talent in the world. The Ultimate Fighter is about to be won by an Australian bantamweight. You know, like that. Those weight classes are so hot down here, and they only hired one of those guys straight to the UFC, and it wasn't a replacement fight or anything like that. They were just like, we need to be in the Stewart Nicoll business, and it's 100% because this dude is competent on his feet. You know, I'm not going to go out of my way to say he's like a world beater on his feet, but he's very technically sound. He's good defensively, and he takes the back really well. Like, he takes a good shot on a takedown. He's got good control. I love his wrist rides and his ways of keeping his opponent down. Like, if he gets you against the cage, he's going to force you to give up your back, and he will be on it for a choke. Like, his jiu-jitsu, very high level. Love the wrestling, love the jiu-jitsu. Love the recent record. And I also just like kind of love that style against Jesus Aguilar too, who's a guy who like kind of loves his jiu-jitsu too much for his own damn good, right? Like, he's a jump guillotine kind of guy and like happy to work off of his back if he gets taken down. Well, I got bad news for you. You're going to be taken down all the time and probably not going to hit that guillotine. He's just going to be working from behind the whole time. So yeah, give me Stewart Nicoll all day here. I think he's going to kill him. All
right. Hopefully he doesn't kill him, but yes.
Yeah.
he can beat him though. All right. We're going to the regular prelims now, the proper prelims. And we're starting things off with featherweight, Josh Culibao, Australia, Ricardo Ramos from Brazil. I will tell you about Ramos first. Caracina is 16-6, 4 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 3 times, 7-5 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight and only won 1 of his last 4. Both of his past 2 losses have come via submission. Used to fight at bantamweight. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2012 Pro MMA debut. A year younger than Culibao. Better grappling stats than Culibao. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.53 strikes per minute. He's at plus 145. Culibao, Kuya, 11-3-1, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. 3-3-1 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 3 straight. He's fight at lightweight. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. And there's more to come, people. Just wait. Used to fight at featherweight. An inch taller, an inch reach over. Ramos has barely been outstruck in the UFC. He's at minus 0.04, and he's at minus 170 on the board.
I'm going to go Culibao here. I went back and forth on this one quite a few times. You know, obviously, Ramos is, you know, the big piece here is he's dangerous with that spinning elbow, which I notoriously said lightning wouldn't strike twice right before it did. He's also like a above average in terms of competence in wrestling. I just don't think he's going to match the volume of Josh Culibao. Like Josh Culibao, when he is putting on a show, he puts on a show. He puts those strikes out there. He looks really good doing it. And then B, I don't trust the fight IQ of Ricardo Ramos anymore. He in his last 2 fights, he's shot in like sloppy takedowns and gotten guillotined in both of them, like really easily gotten guillotined. And Culibao, like low key, pretty good submission game. If you remember that fight with Melsik Baghdasaryan, I want to say used something spinning and he just like leaped onto his back, or maybe he caught a kick or something. Just leaped onto Baghdasaryan's back, had a rear naked choke in there, and it was over. I think Ramos is going to make another one of those mistakes, right? Like it's not surprising. And even if he doesn't, I like Culibao's volume on the feet too, to just kind of overwhelm him and outwork him. So give me Josh Culibao here.
Yep, totally agree with all of that assessment. And he's got the home crowd, which won't hurt. Karasina. Remember we talked about that nickname before. It's Little Face, right?
Little Face, I think. Yeah, I don't think it's actually that, but that's what we're gonna go with.
That's what we're going with. All right. And I misspoke earlier. Nicoll Aguilar actually is the first fight on the main prelims. So this will be the 8. That will be the 8 p.m.
What was the number you had on Nicoll too? I didn't write it down.
Nicoll minus 215.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let's move on. Oh boy. Sloppy heavy overtime. Hopefully a sloppy heavy overtime.
The sloppiest.
Oh, this is oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Junior, it's the battle of the lesser brothers. Junior Tafa versus Valter Walker. Australia versus Brazil heavyweights.
So bad.
So bad. We're gonna tell you about Tafa first, the Juggernaut. He stole Mark Hunt's nickname. He's 5-2 with 5 knockouts. He's been knocked out 1 time. 1-2 in the UFC. Loss over his last 3. Got TKO'd in his last fight. 1-0-1 as a pro boxer. 23-5 in pro kickboxing. I think that's only a partial record too for him. He's barely been outstruck in the UFC. He's at minus 0.05, and he's at minus 106 on the board. So pretty much a pick him here. The Clean Monster, such a bad nickname. 11-1, 6 knockouts, 1 submission. Never been finished in a fight. 0-1 in the UFC. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
I warned you. I told you. Correct. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. And there's more to come tomorrow. Used to fight at light heavyweight. 15 pounds heavier than Tafa based on their last fights. 3 inches of height, 3 inches of reach. A year younger. He's more active landing strikes. Better grappling stats. He got outstruck in his UFC debut by 1.67 strikes per minute. Minus 110. Oh, God. This fight. Give me Tafa. Not just a home crowd, but way better. He's the kickboxer against this so-called grappling expert who did nothing basically in his UFC debut. Give me Tafa here. I'll take him at minus 106.
I'm actually going to go with Valter.
Oh,
Walker.
no way.
So I thought about this time and time again, and I'm trying to decide.
There's no right pick here.
I'm trying to decide. So originally when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, Tafa. And then I'm like, I went back and I watched Tafa fight and I'm like, was I just remembering his brother all of those times? Because like Junior is a lot worse, like substantially worse. And you know, like Valter Walker's debut was terrible. It was really bad. But if there's one thing you could say about him is that like he can kind of wrestle a little bit, right? Like you have to give him at least that.
He can,
that, like he can kind of wrestle a little bit. They're both gonna be tired very quickly. But like Junior Tafa's been beat by Mo Usman, and who was the other one? Was it Carl? Why do I want to say Carl Williams? It's not Carl Williams. I'm trying to remember the other guy who beat him. Not Lucas Brejki, because that's who beat Valter Walker.
Who beat Tafa?
Yeah, who's Tafa's last?
All right, his losses are too. I'm sure it's not going to be pretty.
It was Mo and somebody else.
Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a little better. But a ground and pound finish, right? And like
yes.
For me, Tafa keeps losing to guys who can put him on the ground, right? Like that's what the motor did to him. And like if we didn't worry about the cardio of Mo Usman in that fight, we shouldn't be all that much worried about the cardio of Valter Walker. I think he can at least wrestle here. He seems to have at least a little bit of a chin to take the shots, right? Like he walked through a couple of those Lucas Brejki big shots in there and survived. I think Tafa hits a little bit harder, but I'm gonna bank on the chin of Valter Walker and at least 2 takedowns here. Give me Valter Walker.
All right, good luck. Like we're all losing this fight, regardless of who wins,
except for Crunch, who's going to take the over.
Yes, exactly. He loves the sloppy, fatty heavyweight over. All right, I got to tell you about Rhythm. I have not done that yet, and I need to because it's important. Rhythm season, football season is here, as you all know, I'm sure, and the college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model or let Rhythm do the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and Rhythm builds a custom model around that. Or just let Rhythm and its predictive model do the heavy lifting. Rhythm uses AI projections from MIT data scientists. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpockets.com/RITHMM. Circuit Sports is back with Circuit Survivor and Circuit Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office Survivor pool but didn't enter the Circuit Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with our bosses, Brian and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Main event of the prelims is a squash match on paper. Lightweights, Tom Nolan, Australia, Alex Reyes, United States of America. Reyes, the executioner, 13-4, 9 knockouts, 4 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He's been finished himself 3 times by knockout. 0-2 in the UFC. So before that, he'd won 13 straight fights. Both of his past 2 losses have come via knockout or TKO. Only way he loses, or almost the only way, has not won since August 2017. Yeah. Regional champion. Used to fight at welterweight. 2007 pro MMA debut. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 6.87 strikes per minute.
Oh, man.
Plus 700. That's the biggest number we've heard, probably. Big Train, Nolan, 7-1 with 5 knockouts. He's been knocked out once. 1-1 in the UFC. TKO win in his last fight. 1-0 on Contender Series. 4 inches of height over Reyes. 14 years younger. Better striking stats. Twice more active landing strikes. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by and Contender Series by 2.72 strikes per minute. Minus 1050, and that's come down. It was minus 1100 when I originally broke down this fight. Do we need to break down anything here?
No, I mean, I don't know whose turn it is.
It doesn't matter.
It's Tom Nolan. It's Tom Nolan.
Goodbye, everybody.
I know he got caught by Nicholas Moda, and maybe people could be a little bit down, but don't try to draw a path to victory here for Alex Reyes. Like, he's gonna eat a knee. I mean, Tom Nolan is a huge lightweight, right? He's 6'3". I mean, he's not built like Alvarez at 6'3", but he's still 6'3" at lightweight. It's gonna be hard for Reyes to close the distance, and it's a guy with crazy knockout power, right? He knocked out was it Victor Martinez in his last fight, and I think he beat Bogdan Grad in his first one, who's back in Contender Series this year too. So a prospect the UFC thinks highly of, that Nolan is also knocked out. So yeah, I'm Tom Nolan. Probably not playing 1050 on the money line, but yeah, it's Tom Nolan.
Tom Nolan is the pick. So we got Nolan. I have Tafa. He has a Valter. We both have Culibao. He has Nicoll. Aguilar. We both have Glenn. We both have Jenkins. We both have O'Neal. Boom. Part 1 in the books for you. We'll be back tomorrow with the main card. Gumby says it's a strong pay-per-view, so we shall see. In the meantime, Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Please and thank you. MMA Gambling Podcast. Twitter, SGPN MMA. Gumby Vreeland, Jeff Fox Writer. They're the handles. I'm Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram. moneymma.substack.com is my Substack. You can subscribe and enter my UFC 305 Pick'em contest for free. Gummy's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. He's got Aussies on it this week. It's an Aussie week. Who are the Aussies?
Cody Hadone and Sean Gauchi.
There you go. Check that out. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We'll let Gumby bid you farewell till tomorrow.
All right. Daniel Gumby Vreeland. He is
Gotcha. Yes.
King Jeff Fox.
Thank you.
And we will see you tomorrow.
The clean.